This is the Manufacturing Automation Podcast. I'm Michael.
And I'm Matt. In this podcast, we're going to discuss growing companies, automation and manufacturing,
and how we're building the lives and businesses we want to see in the world.
Matt and Michael back on the map. As always, we kind of have a structure. We struggle to always follow it, but we'll try again this week. Number one, general feelings of the week. Two, sales and marketing. You get an idea of what's happening in the pipeline, what we're excited about to share. Engineering and R&D, what we're creating for new products, what we're making for existing customers. Number four, company-wide updates and improvements, where we talk about our CIs. We like to talk about lean companies, how we're making our businesses more efficient as being small teams. And then lastly is kind of a personal challenge or a little bit about either one of us. Kind of depends upon the week. So for the intro, general feelings of the week, do you want to go first, Michael? Since I kind of just vented to you offline here.
I will. I feel like we might be in similar states of mind. I don't know like if it's the economy generally or what the hell is going on, but the amount of inquiries and things and quotes we're sending out has like tripled. And our close rate has plummeted at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's just very, very demoralizing. We have like an open intraload slot, and 2 months ago, like a slot opening, someone would have jumped on it and sent us a deposit the next day. And, I'm 20 calls in and I can't get, we had one other machine that like they bumped the timeline because they're tied up with production. It's like, okay, we have an open slot, we build 2 to 4 of these things a month and schedule it out. And I can't find anyone to pay the fucking deposit. And I'm frustrated, right? Like growing from a close rate of 30% to, I don't even think the close rate is lower. It's just that, no one is finalizing decisions right now.
Yeah.
Everyone's just waiting.
That's exactly, I guess, I'll get into mine on sales and marketing there. That's a different frustration than we talked about. But yeah, I have some stories around that, and I feel the exact same way, Michael. I really do. I think mine is exact. I was going to say my general feelings of the week is it's like we had some amazing wins on the engineering department and CIs, which is like got me feeling really good on our team's momentum and what we're doing as a team, and then continuing to just see these delays on work product options, or projects that were in the pipeline. But it's not a no.
Right.
It's not
That's the thing. Yeah.
It's not a no, or it's not a we went with supplier XYZ. It's we think we're going to push this back to October, or we're going to push this off to Q1 of 2026 is what I'm hearing.
Yep. Over and over and over. We're not ready to make a decision. And I think what's frustrating for me is like, it's almost like, I don't know if our SEO is working or people just have a lot more time because there's not enough, orders and parts to make right now. But the amount of inquiries and quotes we're sending out is just, going through the roof.
That's actually an interesting comparison you just made there. Just because they have more free time or they're not making as many parts, now you're getting the more inquiries. That makes sense.
I think it's like they have time to look into like CIs, but they don't have the budget to actually implement them. Right.
It's always funny how that works. When you have the time to look for CIs, management never approves the CIs because, things are tight because we don't have work this week. And it's like, you need a budget for those downtimes during the uptimes.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, man, is it frustrating. Just to be, I don't normally feel like I'm grinding, but I feel like I'm grinding right now. Like working through the weekends, I have this big expedite that I wouldn't have taken, if work wasn't slow. And it's like, I'm have been really disciplined about trying to get the company to be consistently profitable, kind of 10% cash flow on revenue. And, we were very much on that trajectory. And then all of a sudden, kind of out of nowhere, I feel like these deals that I think were pretty easy to close. I mean, the intraload just does the thing. It's pretty self-explanatory. Ever since releasing that product, it's been very easy to be profitable and have a good flow of work. And now I can't get, an opening slot allocated, and I'm kind of shocked, right? But yeah, I think it's just like, we have a weird thing where a lot of our customers are like customers of other of our customers or potential customers. because we OEMs will buy our stuff, and then also their vendors will buy our stuff, right? But it's like, okay, if they're slowing production, then the job shops and the production shops who are also using our automation equipment are getting fewer POs, and everyone across the board is kind of struggling, and that's not the time you're going to go spend 20 grand on an automation turnkey, right?
Yeah, or $500,000 to $1 million.
Yeah. Even if you should, right? Like, that's the thing too. It's like, even if, this is the time to go and, if you're going to do layoffs anyways, and, not something I never encourage people to like fire their staff and buy a gripper, right? But, even
It's
if you
usually a bad
should be
play.
optimizing this, the reality is people don't take the risk or allocate the money in that kind of people don't make changes from a position of weakness or concern, right? That's kind of generally true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling great about our SEO and some of the marketing changes. I think I'm just generally stressed because of this expedite that I wouldn't have taken if cash flow weren't tight. And I'm working a lot, but yeah, I'm kind of like, there's an input output mismatch right now, which I think is wearing on me.
I feel you there. Yeah, I'd be curious to hear other businesses kind of in our market, what they're feeling.
Yeah. Well, I've been asking around, and I think everyone puts on a very brave face, and then, is, I've been asking other business owners in the automation industry, in the CNC machine tools industry. I've been asking, the sales guys from, various dealers, HFOs and Ellisons and Yamazons, and I haven't heard a single positive thing, right? And obviously, if you go on LinkedIn, it's going to be a positivity haven, because that's what LinkedIn does. But I've heard in the machine tool sales, figures as bad as down like 75% this month, year over year.
See, it doesn't make any sense though,
Yeah.
based on the amount of work that's needed or appears to be going through this pipeline. But I'm at a loss.
Yep. I mean, yeah, you suddenly don't do anything and your close rate just dips. And then I'm worried, like, even if, things change, the economy comes back or whatever, like, we're going to struggle to catch up, because now, like, if we close half of these deals or a third of these deals are at our old close rates, what are we going to build intraloads on a 5, 6, 7 month lead time?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I've decided for our
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
We're unless I have a 6 month plus backlog, I'm not staffing more.
Yeah.
That's been our new stance.
Yeah.
It's the best way to protect the downs, because our sales cycle is 6+ months. So
Right.
that's the stance that I've been taking, and I think you can still grow in that position. I think it's being more diligent when you are going from that 3 to 5, if you will, months of backlog, saying no, we're not. We're going to continue to grow this backlog.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, I like having some, extra turnkeys in my pocket. I like having, $100,000 plus an AR lined up. And as we finish out these projects, seeing that number dip below 6 figures, it's a little nerve wracking, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my general feelings.
Yeah, we kind of rolled into sales and marketing.
Yeah.
I've seen the same thing. I have a deal that 3 weeks ago I had a handshake verbal agreement. The deal was done. And now I continued. Ghosting's the wrong word, but like they've gone really slow or cold on it because they've had to have these management meetings. I get this gut feeling that he just doesn't want to have the call with me, that he got to know somewhere else when he verbally agreed to me.
Yeah.
That's my gut feeling on it, but I TBD based on the way it plays.
Yep. For sure. Well, sales and marketing, you want to go?
Yeah, it's kind of one of them. Positives. Let's talk some positive. Developed nurture campaign, while it took far longer, is set to go live this coming week. It's a 12 email sequence. It turned out beautiful. We've got a lot of video in it. A portion of that is we got our new machine build process video done. I don't know if you've seen that yet, Michael, but it's on
not.
YouTube now, so it's updated, or Rev 2, if you will. It's 80% the same as our last one. What it does is goes into a little bit more details based on questions we had over the last 18 months with our last build process and things that we've tweaked. The major changes we did is we went to dual sign-off at engineering review and dual sign off at factory acceptance on our floor because of pains we've seen with those stages. We want to give those customers some secondary chances to think about it offline and then come back and do a secondary sign off based on the changes. And we've seen really good reception on that and actually better project velocity in general.
That's good.
So 1A and 1B is what we have, and then 3A, 3B for FAT, which the FAT I think is critical, getting that engineer back on site for a secondary FAT. Mm-hmm. It's something nobody else in our industry does that I'm aware of. But as we've talked about on the pod, the big thing that we've been focusing on is customer experience and customer journey. And anywhere we've seen pains, whether they're repeated or single case, through the build process, we've tracked those over the last several years really well and done some significant reflecting and due diligence to protect us and our customers.
Yeah. One of those things that is a process that comes out of customer pain, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think the question that we always ask ourselves, because it's easy to say, oh, the customer's not doing X, Y, Z. And it's like, the end of the day, we get paid to protect the customer because they may have never gone through a machine build journey. So we need to assume that they know nothing about this process. And unless they get frustrated because we are dumbing stuff down too much, continue with the SOP is because this more than likely is their first high-end complex machine build, and we need to make sure to take them through the training.
Yeah, for sure. It makes a ton of sense.
So seems to be working well. I just actually another win is prior to this, I had gone down our reference list, and because I'm getting more requests for our references, and every time when I get a request for it, I call all 6 of them and say, hey, this company may be calling.
I'm getting the same thing. Yeah.
Just as a heads, maybe that's a market thing.
Yeah, it's a market thing. It's everyone's more risk averse. They won't jump in. They want to hear 7 references that to make sure the thing's going to do what they think it's going to do. Right.
I think it might be a bigger corporation thing too, because I'm getting it from
small companies even.
I'm getting it from
I think
large.
I think your costs are like the system costs are high enough that you only really deal with a larger corporation in general, right? Or is that wrong?
I'm not getting it from the companies that are under 100 million. I'm getting it from the companies that are like in the billion.
Yeah, gotcha.
Or maybe half a billion. At least
I'm getting it from companies that are 20 people, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
And see, at that point, like my reference list for most of our stuff, like I don't even want those, like some of those customers calling my references and bothering them is part of the pain. It's like you can go on our website and see what we've built, or you can come in to our facility and see the projects in process, and I'll talk to you about them. But usually those customers don't convert has been my challenge, where they like I've had that over the years where it's like it's a smallish project, maybe it's going to be $50,000, and then they want to talk to all my references. Yeah. And I give them the references that have done a lot of work with us. And then I never get the job, and I bothered my key clients, and I'm like,
It's like the minute somebody asks for a reference, it's like, okay, like an intro loader or a gripper system. It's like they're very simple, right? Like I'm not really sure like what questions we haven't answered with a live demo. We've given you the maintenance manuals. Like we're just running off the kinematics of the machine. Usually, it's like just this kind of placeholder objection, right? That's really saying, I'm not ready right now, but I don't want to say no, and I'm going to postpone, right? Like
the 2 that I gave to in the last couple weeks here, one COO of a $4 billion company, and then the other one, I actually should look up what the size of their company is, but either way, we're looking at doing multiple projects for that one, and I'm like, all right, these 2 are clear indicators based on the projects we're talking about. You're going to spend a lot of money. Let's get you some references. I have no problem giving them to you.
Yeah. Are you kind of in the same boat as me, where you feel like you're kind of grinding the sales calls and the and the leads and the follow-ups? Yeah.
I've been grinding might be the right word or feeling at this point. It's been since the beginning of the year, Michael. Like our sales have been soft since the beginning of the year, but historically Q1 and Q2 are always our slower months.
Yeah.
But last year I was distracted, might be the best word, or my energy was needed in the business on other things other than sales. So I was pulled off from April to December or April to November, I would say. And then December till now, I've been like 80% in sales, which has been really nice. We've done more proposals, talked to more customers. I've got more in the pipeline for opportunities than ever, but I think that created some of the little bit of a lull. So I
Yeah,
knew
for
I had
sure.
to dig in harder than I've ever had to for sales.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I am too. Yeah. Do you want me to go in sales and marketing?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else here. I guess MD&M and Eats. I think I've talked about that a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah.
We're prepping for that. Once we get into engineering and R&D, I'll have some news there. We've decided we're taking the MRS to both shows. Originally, it was just going to be one.
Awesome. Yep.
Team hit some milestones on that beautiful machine, so I'm excited to say we're going to take it to both shows instead of just one.
Cool.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Well, I guess I'll go.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been so like pessimistic about the right now and so optimistic about the company trajectory. It's like a real juxtaposition.
That's a really good summary because
Yeah, it's like our product mix is like I'm really happy with it at this point. I think we've worked out all the kinks of almost all of our products. I've really figured out, hey, we're an engineering company and we're not a job shop. We just run components that are our customers' components for the turnkey, and then now we're shopping out pretty much all of our internal production to local U.S. vendors, and like. I've figured all these things out. The company is getting more efficient. The SOPs are getting in place. We're simplifying what we're doing. And like with the launch of the Intraload, it got much easier to kind of get out of the small amount of consulting and manufacturing we were doing and still maintain profitability or at least break even. And, the trajectory looks great. I'm super excited about our external pallet loading system that honestly, I haven't even had time to get into because I'm like grinding on sales leads. And yeah, that's just been the thing is just getting deals to close right now is harder than I've ever seen it. And it's really annoying actually having more inquiries than we've ever had because that's more calls to make. That's more, it's a lot more stuff to do. And I really want to stay on top of it all because if I'm going to have half the close rate, well, I need to send out double the number of proposals, right?
yes.
So, it's just wearing on me, honestly. Like the amount of calls I'm going on, the amount of quotes we're sending out. It's like triple the effort for 2/3 of the results. And just honestly, the 60, 70-hour work weeks they're starting to get to me. Because it's like, hey, the 8-hour chunks right now, I got to be. Make sure the team is still improving efficiency, right? I got our lead engineer out on family leave right now, which has been stressful. But I think there's been some positives of me seeing where he's kind of the other people's monkeys kind of thing.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit,
Yeah.
which I think, blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
A little bit of a pain.
Yeah, but also having like a labor shortage, it means that I'm overseeing more than I would normally oversee. And yeah, there's been improvements, but I would say all in all, I think it's good long term, but bad short term, which is kind of I think my theme right now.
Yeah.
And again, we have this huge expedite that 2 months ago I would have just said no, right? Like because it's very disruptive and the timeline is so tight that plus I have an engineer out, which means guess what? I'm doing it.
All of you, yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough.
And so I'm jumping back in the business. So, doing technical work, which is not, I'm okay doing technical work if it scales and it delivers value long term. Like I'm okay designing a new product. I'm okay improving an existing product. I'm okay doing these things that are scope limited. Doing a full turnkey project myself is not, I'm not doing the whole thing, but I'm doing the entire PLC side. And it's not something I'm really okay with. It's something I have to do, right? It's just one of those things I've been training myself not to do. And now, the circumstances change. You want to post a profit this month. And, I think both of us have expenses that are, well into the 6-figure range. So you do what you have to, but I'm not happy about it.
Yeah. No, I feel you. That with the different conversion rate, like one of the things I was looking at is within HubSpot, have you ever mapped like all your leads?
We're working on it now. So that's one thing I was actually going to talk about is we've kind of overhauled our pipeline system, actually separated out like a two-op semi-turnkey from a one-off
yeah.
semi-turnkey, from an intra-load lead, from a hardware lead, from a fifth axis product lead.
Same thing we do with depending upon what type of customer they are, vertical they're within. But yeah, I've mapped them all on like the US map is what I'm saying. And then looking for clusters, and like traditionally I've only clustered in Wisconsin, and then I'll do little day trips. And I'm like, all right, am I going to be going to Ohio? Am I going to be going to, I guess I should pull up just kind of the areas that I was looking at. I mean, I was looking at, yeah. Where is it? Yeah, that'd be Ohio. I was looking at Indianapolis, so a trip through there I was looking at. And then I was looking at Missouri and Iowa trip.
Yep.
And then potentially a Tennessee trip.
Gotcha.
Because I've got these weird clusters in those areas. And I'm tempted to, like, I've got a couple of projects down there that we've bid. I really want to go to Ohio, actually, is where I want to go. It's a simple palletizing project. It's a young engineer, be his first one. I invest a lot of time just getting him up to speed because I really like the guy just in general.
For sure.
And so it was just like, I don't know, it was one of those where I probably should have sold him engineering, like automation partner program, but I know he never would have gotten approved for the budget. He's just too green, but he's been assigned a specific department, has good engineering, manufacturing engineer, and we've closed a lot of deals with manufacturing engineers.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give you a good amount of education here. And I kind of want to just drive over there because he's got 2 multi-million-dollar projects that are in board approval right now. And so I'm like, I think I need to go knock on his door.
Yeah.
I've never met him in person. So
But yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of a theme, like just putting in more work to close, deals. Normally, we do a discovery call, we do a proposal, and, maybe a couple email follow-ups waiting on customer information. Generally, customers are providing this information pretty quickly, and then, they're kind of pushing everything along, whereas, right now it kind of feels like I'm pulling, right? They'll ask another question, and it's just like, I get like 4 layers of questions deep, whereas normally it just kind of feels like people are pulling objections out of thin air. And one thing I've been doing is, it's a lot more work, but I'll pull open the CAD models, I'll open SolidWorks, I'll discuss an intraload palette configuration in a Loom video, and I'm recording these 5, 10, 15-minute videos to get into customer detail and just send it to them and let them kind of see and understand what we're planning to do. And that's a way that I can push that conversion rate up. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work to do that for leads, to go in and do 45 minutes of custom CAD work that should be done after the job is closed, right? And to do it, sure, there's some cartooning of the models to do it more quickly, but
yeah, we do that for projects.
That's normal, but doing this work ahead of time without it being billable to try to get your close rates up, it's just, I think that's the whole thing. I'm really optimistic long term, but like right now, a lot of this just feels kind of like a burden.
I think the way that I just ran some numbers here to make sure I was verifying correctly. I feel like 1 to 2% of the project cost, if you invest that in upfront engineering, is reasonable.
Yeah, and my point is, I'm investing way more than that.
Well, I guess 1 to 2% on $1 million is what, 15 grand. So how many hours can you invest for these? I guess the question, I just heard 45 minutes. Is that over your?
Well, that's like on top of everything else. So it's like, okay, there's already been a discovery call, a series of questions. There's been engineering touch points that haven't been me, right?
Yeah, and I'm saying the one, I like the 1.5 the most. I'm saying that's just engineering. Is what developers spend on top of all the calls.
But what I'm saying is, like, I think kind of our generalized labor rate is, $100 an hour, right? Like, if I'm billing time and material for myself, I bill $575 an hour, right? Like, and so me spending 2 hours on a project, that blows past that 1.5% on even a $50,000 intro load, which is usually about the installed, configured, delivered cost.
I'm always looking at it as cost or burden cost is where I'll look at it. I see what you're saying. So then you'd be at 3% is the value you'd need to be looking at it. And
so it is what it is. It's just kind of a now problem. I think good stuff. We have a new SEO firm. I mean, it's just one freelancer, but he's knocking it out of the park.
Nice.
I think there's multiple keyword searches like pneumatic vices where we've climbed from like rank 7 to rank 1,
Nice.
which I'm
great.
pretty, yeah, it's great. Things are getting rewritten. Stuff is getting cleaned up. You know, we're seeing things actually move. The changes are working. We're climbing in ranks on things. Some stuff is definitely counterintuitive, I would say, but you know, it's more important for us to be on the top of Google than for the description to read exactly the way I would prefer, right?
Yeah, that's always a battle. I know I try and find it somewhere a little bit in the middle because sometimes
Yeah,
just
yeah.
SEO written stuff is just garbage.
Yeah, yeah.
It's bad. But yeah, it is interesting seeing, like you said, maybe there's just more people online too, is part of it. Like you said, searching, because we've had more leads in our engineering side of our business than I've seen all year.
Yeah.
Like this month, I've seen more new product development leads come in than I saw all year.
Yeah, I mean that's us too. It's just more leads across the board, and the hope is that we're just, you know, customers are just putting stuff off, not that they're just looky-looing, right? But we shall see. So SEO has been working great. You know, we've been building out the pipelines in
On the
HubSpot.
engineering and
Yeah,
sorry.
we can go on to engineering and R&D. I think, I guess I have some, you know, exciting stuff that, you know, I wrapped up. I guess sales and marketing. I want to touch base on one more thing. We started doing YouTube videos as well. And there's always a lot of friction in doing YouTube videos. And I basically am just treating it like a webinar with just me there, right?
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, literally PowerPoint, or just kind of going through products, showing a CAD model of how you would do. The most recent one was like a one-op automation setup. You know, how to do it, how to approach it, whether to semi-turnkey it or not. You know, literally one take Loom video, you know, 15 minutes long or so. And you know, we've had some people call and some leads come in from one video that was released a couple days ago. So
With like no editing, just like
no editing.
that's
at all.
great. Like that's
Yeah.
I struggle with that. Like you
I
know
know.
the level we go into with our video, and
Yeah.
like I've got a couple on my list that I want to do, and so now I'm trying to figure out how to do them myself because our videographer's out. Or he's at college. He's not out. He's off to college on the next life chapters, but he's still editing for us. So now I've got to set up the room, do the lighting, shoot it, do the whole script, do all the cuts all by myself, and then send him the stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing here. I can 15 minutes. You know, I know all the content. I've done so many of these sales calls. I know how to approach the turnkeys, and I'm about to do the same thing with the intro load. Just, you know, it takes all the friction out and lets you put out something and clearly communicate all the things to the questions you would normally get, so that, you know, customers are coming in kind of farther down the funnel.
That's good.
But yeah, I'm just, you know, we're making more of these. We're scheduling them once a week. We're trying to get back into the YouTube swing of things, because I think that's a really good way to increase conversion rate. But I guess actually back on
Yeah, I agree.
engineering R&D, the other thing, the new rotary grip lip grip modules, those have been finalized. Those are out. I'm excited about that. That's kind of been in the works forever. And you know, we're working on getting kind of all of our designs really optimized. We bought these little bubble stickers. I think you can actually see a sheet there behind me.
Yeah.
That, you know, they have like a permanent adhesive on them. They have like a clear, like they're a bubble, right?
Interesting. Okay.
And if you've ever seen the Pearson work holding stuff, you know, it has that kind of bubble sticker cut in. Or it has like a cutout, and the bubble sticker goes inside of it. You know, it holds up to coolant. They're really pretty. They're like $1 a piece. So rather than laser etching a lot of stuff, we're just machining in a pocket and now putting in this, you know, little bubble sticker. So, you know, optimizing both how our products look and the cost of, you know, doing all the assembly and procedures and so on. And then, yeah, the extra load is still in the works, but, you know, honestly, it's been kind of on the back seat because we have this custom PLC that we have to finish developing specifically for this big turnkey that's coming up. So, you know, everything's been kind of moving around from how I'd prefer. It's been a hectic month. But yeah, that's basically it for me on engineering R&D.
Ours is I don't know if I talked about the Weldment arrived last week for 1701. It's assembled.
Oh, okay.
So
That's good.
this thing so all the modules were pre-assembled because we were waiting on the Weldment. So all the modules were like bolted down to skids, and the team just placed them. Everything got assembled down at the the pneumatics being routed. Now we're on to cabling the machine.
Yep.
So it's going to be under 4 weeks, 4,000 components assembled.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like it's insane how good our insane's the wrong word, but it's like,
Yeah.
I am so impressed with how efficient our team is getting at procurement to build on machines. And even on like the design to build, like that's gotten so good over the last many years here. And now our next one is like, how do we get them off our floor even faster? Because that's turning into the bottleneck. The fact that we're building bigger and bigger machines, like we can't have a machine on our floor for more than 4 months is like the max goal. And that means testing had some serious pains because we're building a complex machine where I think we can have a machine on our floor for less than like 2.5 months.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I don't know. I'm just really jacked about how quickly the team put this thing together. I mean, were you here a week or 2 weeks ago?
I think it was 2 weeks.
Yeah, and there was just that one module had just gotten assembled
Right,
that day. And now there was like 8 modules, I think, that got built, all put on the weldment. Like, I don't
That's
know.
awesome.
I'm so excited. And it's looking amazing.
Yeah, that's one question too. Like, you know, I used to want to always do projects in just sequentially, you know, done, 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 done. You know, as I kind of mature as a business person, I think I want more parallel projects with longer lead times, because it does let you kind of, you know, you can finish a project early and realize that cash flow early. It's a good way to like normalize your cash flow and plan, which is, it's less efficient overall, but it might be something to consider like optimizing for the business. I mean, you're already kind of...
Yeah, you're actually describing a mindset that I went through, and it was a while ago. I think there's a balance. You want projects in parallel, but there was a point where we had too many projects in parallel for the company's size that then we became inefficient at that point. While it technically opened up the theoretical opportunity for exactly what you're saying.
Right.
It actually ended up doing the opposite though in
I mean,
application.
we swung too far of having too many projects in parallel at one point as well. But yeah, finding that balance is key. You know, I don't know. I think it's definitely possible for you to finish a project beginning to end in 2.5 months. It's just whether that's the ideal thing for the business, right?
I'm saying when it starts getting built.
Oh, okay.
I'm not counting. I'm saying our goal as a company is under 6 months to build a complex machine. That's been clear to the team.
Yep.
That's not moving. I'm saying from the time that we actually start building anything, like we can have procured everything. It can be sitting on our floor. I'm saying from first bolt going into another part.
Okay. Yeah, we're on the same
And
page.
fat sign off under 2.5 months, I think is a very realistic, and that's where we're trending towards. It's just we need to continuously hit it.
Yep. You know, kind of another engineering R&D thing. I mean, it's kind of combined with a CI, but you know, I've been talking for the last, I don't know, 6 weeks or so, how I've kind of concluded, hey, we're an engineering company. We're not a machine shop, right? We have these machines the same way an aftermarket car parts, you know, OEM has the cars in order to, you know, do all the test fitments and so on.
Yeah.
And that's been, you know, that's caused a lot of engineering work of like, we have to really finalize drawings. We have to make sure we get it 100% right when we send out a batch of, you know, even 5 or 10 of a component. You know, I have been kind of shocked just how more affordable it is to get things made in the Midwest. I've just generally been looking for like smaller, really high quality shops where I can be a meaningful percentage of their revenue and sending them consistent work, repeating part numbers. And that's been an awesome strategy. And with the delta in labor costs and all the overhead associated with
You're saying
California,
Delta of Midwest? Yeah. Okay.
yeah, I mean, even though I own the machines, even though I own the vices and I have all the stuff, you know, it's only 20% more expensive to have the entire process handled beginning to end outsourced.
I'll still never forget the customer, and I've probably said this on the podcast. California customer, we're doing a bunch of engineering for them, and we're like, I forget which project we're in, but just off the cuff, he goes, you know, Matt, you're like the Philippines of America. I can't find engineering anywhere cheaper. And I'm like, I thought we were crazy expensive here. He's like, no, it must be a Midwestern thing because like you're so reasonable. And he's like, I bid out your prices are same in your area, but he was just so thrilled with the work. He's like, I just can't believe it. Like, we're making good money on it, but I think it's just like you said, the cost of living. Cause I was just talking to a guy this last weekend that moved from California. He's like, it cost me like half to live here in
Yeah.
Wisconsin to what
Yeah.
it is in California. He's like, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's but you know, doing that has really freed up a lot of velocity. It's let the team focus on a lot fewer things and doing them a lot better. You know, we've just, and also, you know, making sure our designs are perfect and getting those engineering drawings dialed has been a good exercise.
Nice.
I think that's been a huge improvement. And, you know, there's lots of places where we're moving stuff, like we're ordering a ton from Senkatsen now. You know, I had a bad experience several years back with them where they sent us like 200 out of spec parts and I just never bought anything again. And the customer service was non-existent. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to give it another try for another project. And, you know, something perfect showed up with an extra part in there. You know, we ordered 10, they gave us 11, perfect QC, and it showed up like 4 days early. And I was like, well, that's, so then, and, you know, since then, you know, we got like onboarded as a commercial account with them and now they're becoming like a key supplier. So that's,
Yeah. I really am thrilled with, like, we use SendCutSend and FabWorks a lot.
Yep.
I like SendCutSend. I think FabWorks might be a little bit more cost effective, but their lead times vary a little bit more. So you got to pick which is more
Yeah.
important, and that's the reason we do two of them. Is this
Right.
we need it on this date or this price? Which one are we going for?
Yeah, and I think one thing I'm appreciating a lot more now that, you know, more of the business is kind of supply chain oriented. You know, I'm trying to get our products, they're not all there, but I'm trying to get them as much as possible made in the USA. You know, the Vices, I think realistically I'm always going to have to make
That'll be
them in
tough.
Taiwan, just because I can't make a competing device at near that quality for literally double the cost stateside. But,
crazy.
you know, other than that, I'm trying to get all of our stuff as much as 100% USA made as possible.
Is that something where, like, if you teamed up with, say, like Orange Vice or somebody that actually has the machines to make vices and are set up to do it?
Well, we distribute for Orange Vice and we distribute for Fifth Axis. And
So, like, would Orange Vice or Fifth Axis make your vices for you?
no, I mean that's always already kind of an interesting situation because, like, you know, we distribute for these companies. We move a lot of volume, especially for Fifth Axis of you know, product, and that's a whole thing of like, well, you know, they're a vice company. They might come out with a pneumatic auto vice at some point. I think realistically though, our vices live at a point in the market where, you know, we're delivering almost shunk quality for a third of the cost, right? If Fifth Axis were, you know, Orange come out with something that's an auto vice, it's going to be a $4,000, $5,000 product, right? You know, kind of in between that and shunk. And when you get these, you know, the grip clip grip module with two vices, it's almost $9,000 already, right? So, you know, going for that Haas, you know, Doosan level market, you know, can I really put shunk vices on it? You know, then we're gonna have $14,000 of those vices.
Yeah, it's a tough battle because I know we've gone through that, like, with automation projects, like, but you're not sacrificing, you're getting a premium solution where it's like we've had customers, it's like, all right, we have to keep the budget in mind.
Yeah.
In the past, it's like, all right, we can buy XYZ component, and then it just seems like those components just, we've had challenges, but I think that I'm discussing a different problem.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't literally measuring almost the same repeatability as a shunk vice, like, you know, we have vices in the field with 2 million cycles on them. Like, our vices are awesome. They're just not US made, right? Like, that's kind of the thing. But, you know, as I try to do all this, you know, I think all of our processes are really getting optimized. I think we're getting, you know, our assembly, our QC, our documentation, they're all getting better every day. I think almost all the products are at the point where I'm like really, really proud of them, right?
That's
Which took
nice.
time
I
to
love
get there.
I love
Yeah.
that feeling. Like, that's awesome. Good for you, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, our quick flip module, I never had anybody complain about it. But, you know, it was like, you know, 2 pieces of water jet and powder coated material and a rotary actuator, and I just wasn't satisfied with it. And, you know, now that those are like billet machined, hard anodized components that have like 96 millimeter 0 point in the bottom, I can look at it and be like, yeah, like I'm damn proud of that product now, when I couldn't have said that at the price point we sold it for before, right? So, like, I've kind of eliminated, you know, same with, I think, our Axis Air. That was one that we tackled, that we did a redesign on. And, you know, Senkatsen's now making the brackets for that. I'm kind of at the point where I'm proud of literally everything we sell, which feels really good.
That is a good feeling. That's I'm really excited for the MRS tweaks that we did. Like I said, we're taking it out to all the shows. I believe our software, so we're going through our final, we got everything working the way we want it for our modularity that I've been discussing for customers to be able to build out any palette they want from our HMI, our UI, and then dual palette with dual SKU coming down.
Yep.
I think we're going to have it so the team's going through debug right now. They just put a request in for 120 engineering hours to basically do polishing, so UI, UX, refinement, and testing all the edge case variables to make sure that there's no bugs in the field. I think we could ship these now in a crate and not have to send an engineer to set them up.
Yeah.
The documentation is going to be, granted, we're going to continue to send engineers to deploy them for at least the next handful after this CI has been done or R&D, but it's like, this is really cool to see that I think we could ship them that way. And then as I was going through my credit reference, Fanuc is one of our references as a vendor because who better to put on there because we're putting a Fanuc on almost every cell.
Yep.
And our rep Greg, he's like, man, I really need to learn more about this because as far as I know, you're the only person that has done this in the US. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, I thought this was normal. Like, I thought he's like, no, he's like, it's all smoke and mirrors for all these other HMIs. They then force you to go to the pendant that Fanuc gives you. And he's like, it's clunky. And he's like, from what I've seen from trade shows and the fact that now he's like, I understand you were still sending engineers to get it working on site, but the fact that you have it to this point, I really need to start pushing this more for you because you're the only one for sure in my region, which is all of Midwest.
That's funny because like 6 months after the Haas pallet loader, the robotic pallet loader released, we did a little, one of those small, HFO had a demo day thing and they had one of these RPLs and, they had like 2 apps engineers like pulling their hair out, messing with the Fanuc pendant, trying to get it to actually load properly. There's a lot of places where everyone pretends like, oh, it's just the UI or whatever. And then guess what? That Fanuc pendant's coming out.
Yep. Ours is only used on setup of the first time when you move it because there's teach points you have to do to teach a Fanuc. Like there's no way around that, but it's an easy one pager for somebody to walk through it. So I'm thrilled about that.
Yeah, we have a customer, and I won't say who it is, but they swapped a machine from a GFG module to a pallet, and I kind of said, hey, how do you like it? And it was like, it's a lot of work to program compared to a spindle gripper, right?
Yeah.
And the kind of I don't know if I would do this again kind of answer.
People don't understand what it takes to program robots. It's like once you know how to do them and you've gone through the learning curve, no problem, piece of cake. Yeah. But that initial learning curve is a lot steeper than all the perception that is built around these videos.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a lot, especially cobots. I mean, it seems so easy, but then, like once you still have that learning curve with like a spindle gripper, but like we've automated, like if you change the tray on the robot, you're retraining the robot. You change the tray on a spindle gripper, you're changing one piece of text, one number from 1-inch pattern to 2-inch pattern, and it's done. So it's like that recurring work is really there on especially any like self-implemented robot or cobot.
Yeah, it's that slow burn where now it's the latest video that we just shot was basically a hero shot of what the MRS is, but then it was training Hunter, our videographer, who's now 18-year-old off to college, and he was able to set it up by following our documentation.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So that was the win, because that was the pain I've always seen is like whether you're training somebody on a CNC or anywhere else, it's like trying to find that entry level job that you can train is tough.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So sorry, I'm very excited.
But yeah, we're going for the exact same thing on the extra load in particular, where like we probably won't have people self-install it, but like I want it to be where they could, right? Where the system could be dropped in, that one point is programmed for the pallet drop-off position, and hypothetically they could do it on their own. Realistically, we'll send in a tech and it'll be a half-day install and a half-day of training, but I'm right there with you with that goal that you have for the MRS.
Yeah, I think for at least the next year, I'm still going to do a 1-day install for all of these. Like literally the guy or gal that we send with is going to spend an hour teaching you, and then they're going to sit around for 7 waiting for a question.
Yeah. I mean, the intro load is funny with training because like people are so worried about the training, and we send them like the maintenance videos in the Google Drive, and like because it just piggybacks on the machine kinematics, like all of the questions are like, as long as you don't crash your CNC machine, as long as you maintain your CNC machine, there's just like nothing to break because it's like a shelf and a door and one actuator, right? But people are so used to these like integrated robot systems where they have 7 degrees of freedom and 4 actuators connected to the they have that kind of that carryover concern.
Interesting. Yeah. I guess get a few going. Maybe you can reduce the number of hours on site.
Oh, on the intraloads, we're going to be at a day next time.
Okay.
Yeah. We had some minor hiccups, especially with we weren't aware just how off the hosses could be relative to one another. I think one of the ones that we did last time, they had bumped the spindle, to put it gently. And
those are called crashes, Michael.
Yeah. Okay. We think they crashed the machine, which changes the 0 point on a Haas because they don't have linear scales generally. And that resulted in some, it taking a day longer than it should have to install that one unit. But yeah, it should be a day. We're telling people 2, but I think we're going to be at a day for installs on Intraload now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
CIs
Cool.
and
Yeah.
other improvements around gimbal automation?
I mean, the biggest thing is, really just focusing on supply chain. I keep talking about kitting. We are going from, I don't know, like 1,000 Kanban cards to it should be like 70 or something.
Yeah, you talked about that. That is insane.
And, basically the way that we're doing it is there's like a box up top. One person on the team is responsible for that box, and we just Kanban the kits. So there's like 6 kits. Basically, we might have a subassembly that goes into multiple different products, right? Like the quick flip components, they go both into the quick flip 180, that's standalone, as well as the various grip flow grip modules. So, we're only kitting for that subassembly, but basically there's a box that lives up there that has a printed out sheet of all the places to order all the things.
Okay.
And that person is responsible for building the kits when the Kanban quantity of the kits is hit. And
Understood.
that takes it down from, having a Kanban card for every single individual component to a printed out sheet and one Kanban card, right? And there's often 20 different part numbers in that kit.
Yeah, I liked that idea a lot last week, and it sounds like I want to hear about it once it's been operating for a month. Like that's been my new theme about. I had somebody say it in a meeting to me. They're like, Matt, you just told us that you don't believe it till you see it, and it has to be running for X number of time. Like that's my new line to software when I like, oh, you got it all figured out. I'm like, all right, prove it to me. Like I'm not trusting that software is done until I see it running. Seeing is believing.
I think like a lot of the CI stuff, like now that we've got almost all of our products dialed and finalized, there's still a couple little things like, as we move to the bubble stickers, I need to add the cutouts for the bubble stickers. So there's still some parts that are actively being made that need to get lasered. But, the big thing is that, we're really optimizing and focusing on supply chain, bringing back as much stuff onto U.S. soil as we can. A lot of that is just everything's so damn unpredictable, right? With the tariff situation. And a lot of it is, if it's not going to cost that much more than going international, I want to do it here. But, with doing that has come the need to have larger Kanban quantities than doing it in-house, which, we're really optimizing Kanban quantities, but that is a bit of a stress point because, I have well into 6 figures of inventory. And obviously we've had kind of a tough sales month, particularly this month. So going and sending out all these, larger POs and, testing out vendors and getting these recurring part numbers ready to be produced, means that we're having even a little bit more money tied up in inventory, which kind of sucks, right?
Yeah, that necessary evil, I guess. I don't know what to say about that. I was wondering about the bubble stickers. Do you have to have those printed out of house, or can you print them in house?
Oh, you definitely have to do it out of house.
Okay.
And it's so cheap. I can send you the reference to the company to do it.
I'll say because we bought a Brady labeler for doing our shrink tubes on all our labels, and then you can also print on PCBs and on sheet metal.
Yeah.
So we moved to that, and they hold up to isopropyl alcohol baths. They hold up to pretty much anything and high heat. So that's what we've
Right.
been doing.
Yeah, but I guess the thing is like, what's the cost and the amount of effort that you're putting in whenever you need to make one of those things, right?
We print them as a big lot,
Oh, okay,
and it's
yeah.
it's set up to do that. I'd actually
like,
say,
This is what comes, and you can kind of see the depth of them. You know, they're
Yeah, I
like
know what
60 thou thick. Yeah.
yeah. So for us, it's we need unique part numbers on
Right. Yeah.
all these different components, like specifically sheet metal, because
Yep.
you end up powder coating it. You have to put a sticker on it. So that's what we're doing, and then it's for labeling all our pneumatics and cables.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, because we have like recurring part numbers. We know what the part numbers are. You know,
we have
we
different
our projects outside of kind of unique turnkeys aren't the part numbers aren't changing. The big thing this is getting rid of, is someone going and loading a finished component onto a laser etching machine. We have one of the 120 watt like MOPA Galvo lasers. Hitting the button, making sure the filter's turned on. We might have $700 into a component and someone misaligns it, and now the part's scrap, right? And if I have this machined in, from the, whoever I'm outsourcing the part to, whatever domestic vendor, it's just a pocket. You can't really misalign the sticker. And
No, well, you can peel it
Yeah.
off too, I suppose.
You can, yeah, and then you peel it off and clean it with acetone, and you're good to go.
Yeah, okay.
And the biggest thing, it actually looks better than a laser etch.
I
because we
like
have
them. They look
color.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look really good.
Yeah, I mean, if I get really up close and picky, I'm going to complain to them next time we put in a batch of a 500, so we get a little less pixely. But I mean, you gotta really get close. But
Yeah,
that's.
sometimes that could be the art you gave them, though, too.
I give them an SVG. Yeah, I know. I'm just. I don't know if I got one of their older printers or what, but.
Yeah, no, it's
Yep.
attention to detail matters.
Yep. What about you on the CI front?
We swept 3 off the board, like I said we were going to do last week. It's a really good feeling to have that. So we were at 7. Now we're down to 4 active CIs. The next 2 that I should just pull it up. The next 2 that I think are going to be going off. Actually, one will be going off today or tomorrow. I got to review some documentation with Robert yet today, and we should get that one swept out. But then it's HMI and MRS, which you've got about. So the HMI, as we talked about, all the hardware's ordered. We're waiting on to assemble that and verify and then get it all out for Anno. So we probably got 3 to 4 weeks to get that stuff buttoned up before we can consider that R&D aspect done. And then the MRS software, just like we were talking about, team member 1 at 120 hours. I think it's going to be somewhere between 80 and 160. I think he did split the difference. There's going to be a few things that might go really better than he thinks. And there's a couple things on there for bug edge cases where I think there might be more pain. So
Yeah. I will say,
save
Matt, and this might just be a difference in philosophy and the fact that your products and systems cost so much more. At least with myself, I've found at the point that even I'm a little embarrassed of one of our products. It's already been through 3 or 4 revs. I've already spent so much time fine tuning it. I'm already so picky that a lot of the time I'm still embarrassed of a product, and it's more than good enough for the customer application. That was kind of the case with the Quick Flip. And I just redesigned it anyways. And I'm such a perfectionist that I literally just said screw it. Took the loss on the old inventory and pushed everyone to the new version.
yeah.
But I guess that's one thing I kind of want to push you to do. Like I've seen that HMI. I know how far along you guys are. I'm wondering if you guys might be a little bit too conservative with getting it completely perfect.
I don't think that's a wrong statement in any sense. I think our hesitation on launching some automation projects earlier is because of pains we've seen where we've kind of taken that like, all right, this is close enough. The customer's never going to need these things. They end up needing them, and it turns out to be a slow burn of pain.
Right. But I
And so
almost
it's-
wonder, like, with the MRS especially, can you just find a test customer?
That's exactly. So we wanted to. There were some things that were going to be a bunch of calls. Otherwise,
Right.
we have one that's like, it's in my hometown that I want to put it on. So they manufacture wine, and I want to put it in there for harvest season. So right after harvest season, when they're going through their big bottling, my goal is to put it on their floor and show us palletizing stuff.
Yeah.
That's the extent. That's our initial.
I might talk to you offline. I have a vendor who, I love finding the vendors who are like one or two brilliant guys in a garage shop.
Okay.
I have, and those guys have been the best. A lot of them are our customers, right? The early adopters buying spindle grippers. Those one or two man, like just really sharp guy shops. I think you could benefit a lot from the feedback from those people. I can connect you with one who.
Do they have palletization? Because that's what the MRS is for. It's not a machine tending cell.
Okay.
I'm not targeting machine tending at all. We're going after end of line,
Yeah.
rolling it into winery.
Yeah, you're not
coffee
going to
roaster.
find a one guy shop with that for sure.
No, and that's the reason we need it more refined, has been a part of it. Because I agree with that mindset. Like when we launched the VFS, I was very much more in that mindset. And the challenge has been every time I bring in a demo for our unpolished HMI, they're like, we want to watch and see how this goes. And it's like, gosh, this would have been a slam dunk project. So
I can't stop thinking about machine tending, I guess. I knew that.
yeah, I'm not going after your market
Yeah.
at all with it. Like that's been
I
a
was
hard
worried.
stance. That's been a hard stance. We're not going after machine tending.
Yeah. Yeah, machine shops are a tough market. I can't think of anyone pickier than a machinist.
We're removing. We used to have the automation fixture system on the top of the MRS. That's all going away in this minor revision that we're doing for MD&M. That's nobody wanted it. Like nobody wanted the accessories. It didn't matter. Reduce the cost of the cell is really what they kept saying.
Yep. All right. Well, you want to blast through the rest? I got a call coming up at 1:30. I got to get a little.
That's
bit
it. It's personal
Okay, cool.
challenge for the week.
Well, we had did you write down our challenges for last week? Because I've been very irresponsible of writing them down. You want to pull them up?
I will. Mine was, as our marketing agency contract wraps up, the challenge is to zoom out and think about marketing as a whole for the rest of the year, from video to agency strategy to trade shows. This would be my biggest lever to keep momentum going through Q4. That's what I put down as the note. And then yours is, in the company is okay, go win. Slow into fast in terms of dollars.
Yeah, I
A
think that
very
was
fragmented sentence I put down.
yeah, that was like get into the in the company and do the work on this expedite. And I think, I guess honestly, I definitely have done that. I think for this week, I'm going to kind of, piggyback on that. I need to stay kind of working in the business and not as much on the business, which is a weird push for me. And I think the biggest thing is just to take a breath and trust that everything's going to be fine. Like the reality is I have the capital to weather the storm, that, a lot of these deals are going to close, and I need to just stop pushing myself so damn hard. It's kind of like I need to finish this project, and I need to let some fires burn, and I need to take a breath and stop working 70, 80 hours a week. And I think that's mine right now.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I've had similar reflections. It's tough when enough is never enough, if that makes sense. But I think that's kind of a mindset we both kind of share. Is it's like, I just got to get this and I'm going to be comfortable. But it's like, it's looking back and sometimes celebrating the wins. Like, you have created some significant CIs, some great improvements on your company over the last year. And it's sometimes hard to see that when you're like, I just want to close a damn sale this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I zoomed out a little bit, not as much as I wanted to. I'm really wanting to just sweep out. We've got a few lingering things that we're going to have done for these next trade shows. I have nothing else I want to do to our website then at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's going to be SEO refinement. We have one more video I want to build, and then we're done with the educational stuff I want or know I need.
Mm-hmm.
My thing has been we have this interesting relation of where our leads come from. It's, if we put stuff on Matt's LinkedIn channel, it has 2 to 4 times the engagement and relation
as opposed to
versus
develops.
our actual business one.
That's normal.
And so, go ahead.
That's totally normal.
Yeah. Well, my question has been, why don't we utilize some marketing dollars in 2026 and actually build out my personal brand around feeding develop on automation, like me being a leader in automation and helping educate people more. But rather than taking it from the company's perspective, we lean into my perspective more.
Gotcha. Is that kind of your action item here to investigate?
No, that's what I did last weekend is been
Oh, okay.
digging into that further, and that's something I'm planning throughout the end of the year. I'm reflecting on it, how I want to go into marketing of 26, because I'm really happy with where Develop is for marketing, and I really want to spend our Develop marketing dollars on trade shows this next coming year, because I think we have a solid HubSpot engine. We've got a solid website. We've got a solid SEO, all these literature. Like, I don't think there's anything else to build right now.
Okay. Well, what's your thing for next week then?
So I was reflecting on, my thing
Yeah.
for next week. That's a good question. I still don't know. Is there anything that stood out to you during the call?
I mean, I honestly, I think it's, I think we both need a breath. And I guess that would be, I don't know if you're working and grinding like me right now, but I would challenge you to, I think I can see kind of the stress in both of us. I would challenge you to take a deep breath and not work the weekend.
So ChatGPT, I always run through this. It gave me a very similar feedback for what it recommended for my challenge. It said, "Be intentional about time at home as a dad matters more than just showing up." That was the quote that ChatGPT gave me when I just went on my 45 minute rant about the week to get ready for the podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that seems like a good plan.
Well spotted, Michael.
Yep. Well, let's close out there. I got to run to my other meeting. We'll make sure I mean, if you guys listen to this, share it with somebody. Hopefully we kept it real and it wasn't too negative. Give us 5 stars. I think we just both need a breath, and hopefully next week's is going to be a little bit more positive of a map. Thank you so much for listening to Matt and I's conversation this week on the Manufacturing Automation Podcast. If you like the podcast, please share it with a friend or give us a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We'll be back next week to continue sharing our respective journeys in life, business, and industrial automation. Thanks so much.